Richard Hammond has modified my BMW M3.
What a video this is going to turn out to be. Now I presume you guys have seen this.
Matt Armstrong's E46 M3.
Pretty crazy, right, that someone like Hammond would notice me building a car like this M3. It's almost as crazy as James May calling me a knob.
Seriously, Matt, you, sir, are a knob.
But besides that, this E46 M3 has been on such a journey. Its whole life, in fact. It left the factory brand new in this amazing Laguna Seca blue colour, and of course, the almighty manual transmission, making it one of the most sought after BMW M3s. But that was until a track experience day company got hold of her, where she had years of abuse before being left for dead on the side of the track. But you guys already know the full story. You only have to click in the top right hand corner to go watch all the videos. Now you've all been watching me trying to restore her back to an OEM plus quality, but I had to leave a few of my marks on it. Like the C63 brakes, a Scorpion exhaust, and a short shifter. And of course Bilstein coilovers, all of which I thought was needed and doesn't stray it too far away from being an OEM car. And now she is running and looking sweet, but it's true what they say. A project car is never finished. The M3 has done 124,000 miles and it's not doing any more because the speedo stopped working. Not only is the speedo not working, there's also a ton of warning lights on the dashboard, including an ABS fault and some faults with the lights. So I'm headed to the unit now to try and tackle all those faults so we can get this car mechanically sound and ready for its trip to Richard Hammond's. Now, first thing I want to address is the ABS fault that we have, and this is caused by this front ABS ring here. You can kind of see the ridges on it. Now, this fault occurred after filming the last video when fitting these AMG brakes onto the front of the E46. I somehow managed to nick the ABS ring with a screwdriver when fitting the discs. As you can just about see it here on the ring, and it only takes one little defect on that ABS ring for it to confuse the ABS sensor, which sits so closely to it. Now, you can't actually buy the ABS ring separately from BMW, so you have to buy a full new wheel bearing housing with the ABS ring connected to it. But this wheel bearing housing wasn't that expensive, around 20 quid off eBay. Now that actually came off surprisingly easy for the age of the car, but unfortunately this side has got nothing to do with the speedo not working. So this is going to be different on every car, but on the front of the E46, the ABS system and all the ABS sensors are purely just for the anti-lock brake system. But on the rear wheels, whilst they are still used for the anti-lock brake system, the rear left wheel is also used as a wheel speed sensor, which sends a signal from the rear left wheel to the speedometer to tell you what speed you're doing. So the speedometer problem is something to do with this rear left wheel. But moving back to the front, we know we have an ABS problem with this side because, well, I hit it with a screwdriver, which was my fault. So we're going to replace this with this one, and then also I'm going to do the other side. That way we've got two fresh wheel bearings. So pushing on the new wheel bearing is really easy. I can just rest it on the stub axle and then use a block of wood just to hammer it into place before putting some Loctite on the nut and then tightening it up to the axle. And now the ABS sensor should be getting a much better signal from that ABS ring when it's turning. So then it'll have a much better idea of what speed that front wheel is spinning. And I'm going to be doing exactly the same to the front driver's side wheel. And on goes the passenger side brake disc. Now, some of you have mentioned that this brake disc looks like it's the wrong way round, when actually it is the correct way round. Now, this is the rotation that the disc spins here. And just inside here, you can see the cooling vanes inside the disc. They're almost pointing forwards. And you can see on this diagram here that cool air rides along the top of the disc, and those cooling vanes help dissipate the heat from the center of the disc and all the brake dust. Whereas if it was the other way around, like the photo on the right hand side, the cool air would just be pushing the hot air back into the center of the disc. But with all that done, I can bolt back on the AMG caliper, and that is job done for the front side. Now moving on to the rear. we know we have some sort of issue with the ABS on the back because the speedo is not working. Now I can see the ABS ring here, and from turning it round, I can't see any damage or any debris that's going to cause this to be broken. So I think the problem is going to lie with the ABS sensor. So I started removing it. And it looks as if the ABS sensor has got some damage to the front of it, which would explain the non-working speedo. Now inside this bag is a new ABS sensor directly from BMW, and inside this bottle is a lemon cheesecake meal replacement drink directly from Y-Food. I'm going to take a sip of this whilst you guess the price of this. £180. That's right, £180 for an ABS sensor. I have no idea why. I was hoping I was going to get away with cleaning this one, but it looks as if it's picked up something and damaged the end of it. But just think about how many Y-Foods I could have bought for £180. And quite conveniently, it's Y-Food that have sponsored today's video. Now, if you're like me and constantly on the go and are guilty of just grabbing a bit of fast food at lunchtime, then it sounds like Y-Food is the drink for you. And that is because Y-Food is a meal replacement drink, which is full of vitamins and minerals, 26 to be exact. Now, it's not to be confused with a protein shake, a diet drink, it's simply just a meal replacement. Not only does it taste good, the new packaging is 100% recyclable, and there's also vegan options as well. Now, we all know everyone's taste is not the same, and Y-Food have been smashing it because there's so many different flavours to choose from. I pretty much like every one, apart from hazelnut. So if you fancy being healthier, then you can try Y-Food with the link in the description box below, where you can find your favourite flavour with a taster pack, and with help from this banner appearing underneath you right now, you're going to save yourself a nice bit of cash as well. Thanks, Y-Food. So, I cracked on with installing the new £180 ABS sensor, with hopes that this would fix the speedometer issue. And with that all installed, it's time to finish up the E46 and pop on all the under trays, now that we've tackled all the leaks from this engine as well in the previous videos. So all underneath the car now is looking mint, nice and dry. A lot of difference from when we first got it. It was absolutely caked in oil, power steering fluid, and God knows what. And now we even have all the proper trays under it. This is unlike me. Now I'm hoping all the ABS lights and all of the yellow and red lights that are on the dashboard will disappear now. Well, I think we will have to cancel them off first. Now there is one more light that we need to address, and it's sort of been annoying me the whole time I've had the car. And that is these two lights here. Now those lights are just saying that the car has not recognised, or that two side light bulbs are out. Quite clearly we do have two side light bulbs which are working. The issue is with the E46 though, that it left the factory not with LED front lights, and LEDs obviously draw less of a current if I'm right, so that means that they're turned on but the car doesn't realise that there's side lights on because there's a lower voltage there. Now I'm hoping these will cancel that issue. Now I can't remember the proper name for these LEDs, but they have some kind of resistor in there which tricks the computer to thinking that the standard OEM bulbs are there. Therefore, no light being on the dash. Okay, has the bulb light on the dash disappeared? Let's find out. Yeah, boy! We're hopefully going for no lights on the dashboard. All that's left to do, cancel the ABS light, give it a bit of a clean, and then we're off to Richard Hammond's, as if I said that. So there it is, a moment in history, no more lights on the dashboard, finally. And now the E46 is pretty much mechanically sound. It's came such a long way from when we bought it. But now I wanted to give her a good scrubbing over before her big day tomorrow at Richard Hammond's workshop. Now the M3 does still need some attention with paint, but you'll realise in the next video why we haven't gone to the body shop just yet with this car. But tomorrow morning we'll be heading to the smallest cog to meet Mike from Drive Tribe and Richard Hammond. Hammond set up this amazing workshop which restores classic cars. And being that they've been closely watching the E46 build, they asked me to pop down with it so they could check it over for themselves. And I personally think with Hammond's history of car driving and my history of fixing crash damaged cars, we could potentially make a perfect team. welcome to the smallest cog. I literally cannot believe I'm here. First off, we was greeted by Mike from Drive Tribe, who gave us a little tour of the workshop and explained what exactly we'll be doing today. He showed us inside the studio where we'll be doing a little Q&A with Hammond later. I got to meet and speak to the mechanics. And then we got to meet the main man himself, Richard Hammond. This is literally such a crazy opportunity and a milestone for this channel.
This is a bit of a surreal moment. We're at Richard Hammond's workshop, the smallest cog, and well, we've got Matt on the camera now because I just felt like I would be so excited and just forget to film everything. And Hannah's here as well, and we're also having to do careful camera angles because there's some cars that we can and can't film, and so hence this type of camera angle and not being able to pan around to Hannah or Matt behind the camera right now. This is going to be interesting, but M3 is about to go inside and we're going to see what Hammond thinks of it and also the guys inside. Let's go check it out. Okay, so the car is on the ramp now. The guys here are going to be checking it over and they're also going to be giving me a score, the smallest cog score, which I'm a little bit nervous about. And you guys can check out their video that they've filmed with the links in the description, and also it sort of pops up around here as well. Fingers crossed the E46 passes the sort of the cog score, we'll see.
So Mike and Anthony are going to be working their way around the E46, critiquing and complimenting it. And they'll finally come up with the smallest cog score, which is based on the exterior, the interior, the sound, and the coolness of the car. Fingers crossed for the M3.
The guys are just checking over the car right now, and I kind of feel I know what they're looking at. There was a small issue when fitting AMG brakes to the BMW. There was BMW brake wear sensors, which obviously AMG brake wear sensors don't fit into the BMW fitting, so the BMW brake wear sensor is now tied up, and that's probably something that they're noticing right now. But other than that, I think it's pretty solid underneath, but let's see what they find.
Not only did they find the front brake wear sensor, they also found the rear brake sensor was hanging as well. But hey, I'm bound to make a few mistakes here and there, and this thing was only very minor.
Did you have to have the brackets made for the front end for the brakes?
Yeah, that's how the brackets. Yeah, the brackets made.
Well, I bet they're better than original.
Oh, they're really good. Yeah, you go through.
They're massive.
Oh, they're huge.
And then it was time for the sound test. I think Anthony enjoyed that one. So whilst both Mike and Anthony decided to come up with a score for the M3, I popped upstairs into the studio to have a little Q&A with Hammond.
Let's clap in 3, 2. Matt, welcome to our studio here. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Have you got a studio?
No, not quite.
Are you mad?
Am I mad?
Yeah.
I think I have to be a little bit mad.
You seem to specialise in doing that nobody else wants to do.
I think there is a reason behind that though. I feel if I bought a car which was an absolute brand spanker, I would only make it worse. Buying a car which is sort of being scraped from the gutter, I don't think you can make it worse.
Actually, you raise a good point, because that's where you stray into modifying.
Now, Hammond and myself got talking for a long time, and a lot of the interview is on Drive Tribe's channel. But we had a lot of things in common, but we also disagreed on a few things.
James has seen my Maserati.
This is James May.
Yeah,
the old dog.
Yeah, so James May. I could understand why he might not understand what exactly I've done to the Maserati. Some people appreciate it, most people don't, but it's a head turner.
He described you, I believe, as a knob.
Yeah, that's correct. That's controversial.
Quite vivid, to be honest.
But it's a bit of me. It's exactly. I could never sell that car now. Yeah.
That was rude. I'm sorry. But you did set it up.
So with the Q&A over with Hammond, it's time to find out what Mike and Anthony thought about the E46 M3 and to collect the smallest cog score.
Matt, how was your chat with Hammond?
It was good. It went well. Yeah, it was a surreal moment.
Did he give you an in-person roasting, or was he nice?
Yeah, just told me off a little bit about the modifying the cars, but other than that, went well.
Well, cool. Your car has ended up with the first ever cog score. Would you like to know? It's out of 50.
I would like to know, yeah.
What do you reckon it's got?
Well, I did say to Hammond I'll be happy with anything over 30, as there is still a lot of room for improvement with the car, which I will go home and carry on working on the car.
Your E46 M3 has got 37 out of 50.
Beautiful.
That's a A minus in my opinion.
Oh, and room for improvement, as I thought. But yes, it's. I'm happy that there's no oil on the floor as we've left, and it's mechanically sound. No lights on the dashboard.
Absolutely.
Until I drive home.
So 37 out of 50, not a bad score at all, especially for a car that for most of its life has been thrashed around a track and then repaired by, well, someone who's not quite a mechanic. But with Hammond feeling so strongly about modifications, it was time for him to modify the M3.
So,
Yes?
it's now time for
Yes.
you to sort of give you a little opinion on the E46, generally as a car and sort of what I've done to it.
As a car, epic, love them. You have to like an M3. It's actually the law. You're legally obliged to like these things.
That's true.
And I will, agreeing with you is a weird thing to do sometimes, but I'll be honest, the colour, strong as hell, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, the paint's had some wear.
Yes, that's the last thing to do.
It's not sitting in properly.
No.
Just visually. And I want to see these multiple brakes.
They're
They
not.
say AMG on me, which is going to surprise. Well, how is that going to be received by the BMW crowd?
Surprisingly, it went down quite well.
Really?
Yes, they.
I mean, they're good brakes.
Apparently, it's pretty common to upgrade the brakes on these. I played it safe, and I did say, oh, perhaps I should take the AMG badge off. But like the chaps have just said, no, keep it on. So that's just BMW fitment.
Oh yeah, Germans, they're known for being slapdash and
That's
not
it,
doing things
yeah.
properly, aren't they? These are great in black. I love black.
Oh, it's nice you pointed that out, because I do get a bit of stick for that.
No, I like that. I'm a fan of that. That looks fantastic.
There we
I
go.
love that. It looks de-chromed. Cool.
That's it.
No, I think well done. I still think you're mad, spending your life choosing the things nobody else would touch. But it's a great car, isn't it?
And we do have one last thing for you to do.
Yes.
And I'd like you to modify the E46 M3 with this special DRIVETRIBES sticker. So I can officially say Richard Hammond has modified the BMW M3, and this is the moment.
Where do you want it?
I would like it on the rear.
Okay, this is a modest level of modification,
Yeah,
but significant nonetheless.
it's tasteful.
Right. I think we need it parallel with that, and I think we want to just tucked in that corner there. Is that? Are you happy with the
That
placement?
looks perfect.
I'd say it's pretty good.
That's
That's a modified car.
That is
the best bit.
That is the
know what I
best
mean?
part.
People are going to say, but that it's beautifully applied. Pleasure having you here today.
Thanks so
Nice
much
to
for
see
letting me pop down.
Well, keep in touch, won't you? Let's keep across what you're doing.
Sure we
We'll
will,
bore you
yeah.
with Andy. Good luck. Keep up the insane work.
Thanks for having me.
Look after you.
Thanks
Good luck
for
with the
having
Range
me.
Rover.
I'll need it.
But I still think you're mad.
Cheers.
But in a good way. It's good, man.
And that should cover everything. What an experience it's been coming down to the smallest cog, meeting Hammond and all the boys at DRIVETRIBES. Thanks so much for watching this video. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
That's why I asked if you're mad.
Like a drug that